Welcome to this week's video where I am playing with tiles. From painting, where's my tile? From painting on tiles, having a little experiment, to an Ikea hack, to flexing some woodwork skills. I got the miters, by the way. I'm gonna get straight into the first project. Here's what I got up to this week. So let's channel our inner Bob Ross and do some painting on tiles. This project would actually be perfect to do with kids. I was thinking that this would make a nice Mother's Day present for my niece and nephew if I got them to paint some tiles to give as gifts. Also, if you're handy with a paintbrush and you want to customize some tiles and stick them on your wall, this is also a great way to do this. And you can also turn these into coasters or flower pot stands, anything you wish. I'm using just normal tiles that you'll find in any DIY shop. They're kind of basic builder grade ones. They're the ones that I have on my kitchen wall, and there was some left over in my house when I moved in. I didn't know what to do with them, so we're going to use them to paint. I'll leave a link to the paint that I'm using, but I'm just using a special ceramic paint. But don't quote me, I think you may be able to use acrylic paint for this as well. Also, you might be noticing that I'm using stencils and I'm kind of cheating. That is because my freehand painting skills are not so good, but I really wanted to just have a go at painting some flowers. So I used a stencil kind of to get myself going, and then once I lifted it off, I just kind of touched up any of the edges. I did have an attempt at doing a freehand tulip. I thought because of the time of year, with it being spring, I would do some tulips. I did have an attempt at painting a butterfly, but I changed my mind on it last minute. So I used a window scraper to lightly scrape it off the tile. So don't worry if you make a mistake or you do something you don't like. I removed it and then I popped my tiles into the oven, preheated it to 140 degrees because that's what my paint packet said. So follow the instructions, that's what's on yours if you're using a different paint. And I baked them for 30 minutes and that is supposed to cure the paint. For my next party trick, who remembers, I would love to know if you are an OG and you've been here. I can't remember when I did this project. Still have it, love it. I want to do version 2.0. I was in woodwork class last night and I want to practice some of my skills. So I am going to make a base. I'm going to try and make a base nice and simple. But I'm going to delve into the archives and I hope the footage is good quality. And I'm going to see if you want to make, so this is an Ikea hack. This is an Ikea Klack tray, I think. And they still have this tray in Ikea. Well, you can use any serving tray, so take the idea and make it your own. You know the drill. I mean, my skills were okay. Some of the tiles are a bit wonky, but I mean, the grout has held up. I've used it as a serving tray. I have it the past couple of years. The paint has, I think I used to use the chalk paint at the time, so it's kind of worn nicely over time. But if you want to make this with the tile tray and you just want to do the tiles, I'll pop in the footage. And then if you want to try and make a wooden base with me, let's try and make one together. I first did this tile tray project back in 2018. How time flies on YouTube. This is old footage, but I think the quality is okay, so please bear with me. So essentially for this, I just used an Ikea tray. This is the Klack, and I made sure that I had enough tiles to fill it, so you can modify this and use any tray and any tiles. I used Gorilla Glue because I remember that's what I had in my stash at the time. I stuck each of the tiles down using Gorilla Glue and I let it dry overnight until it was nice and firm. I then remember using some grout and I filled in the gaps and I let that dry for about 24 hours before wiping off any of the excess and polishing up the tiles. And 5 years later, I still have the tray and it's one of my favorite DIYs that I've done. But let's make a new one and flex our skills. So to make a base, I'm using wood that I already have. And this Ikea tray, I was worried if I used, so this is MDF, and I have MDF scrap as what I want to use for my base. This seems to just be glued at the sides, but I think I have just wood battens, and I think I'll put the MDF, no, I think I'll put these on top of the MDF because I think it'll be a bit stronger. I was worried about the weight of the tiles, but this tray has lasted the years and the weight is fine. I'm going to be using the same tiles. I ordered a batch of tiles from the Dolly Tub, I think like last month. So they've been sitting on my office desk just waiting to be turned into a nice tray. The reason why I want to make another tray, but like the 2.0 version, is A, I want to practice my woodwork skills, and B, I think I'm going to give it to my mom as a Mother's Day present. And Mother's Day is, I think Mother's Day is just after St. Patrick's Day this year, but it's always earlier in Ireland than the UK, because sometimes if I mention Mother's Day in a video, people are like, what? That's like not until, I think, is it May in the US and Canada? I know it's like later in spring, but yeah, March 19th, I think, is Mother's Day this year. I better go check. But I'm gonna make it as a present because I want to keep this one. This is the original. Anyway, let's get into it. I want to explain my thinking. This is like the materials I have. Feel free to adapt. Like if you have like an old palette, you could use the palette wood as a base. So I have this bit of MDF. You might remember it. I think I used it in the wallpapering video or the faux wallpaper video. The other side is like painted. So I'm going to use this as the base. So what I'm thinking is, these are my absolutely beautiful tiles. I love them. So I'm going to stick them to the MDF base, and then I'm going to frame the base with these wooden battens. I'm not sure what size they are. I'll get my measuring tape out. Hang on. Okay, these are, I think, 2x1s. Yeah, we've got 2x1s. So I'm thinking if I can measure the base to include enough space to have some gaps between the tiles. Enough space, so I need to make sure I have an inch here. Oh Lord. So I need to make sure I have an inch, and obviously I'll have one here and one here. Then when it's all dry, I could put a handle on each side. Now, I did learn how to do a mortise and tenon joint last night in woodwork, but I think I'm just gonna do some straight cuts and glue it all together. I might miter the corner, but you know what happens when I miter the corner? I end up cutting the wood too short, but it could be good practice. But I think I'm going to try and keep it really, really simple. So if you are a newbie too, you can do it the simple way. I'm going to cut my wood with, I'm going to measure it up, and I'm going to cut it with my circular saw. However, when I've cut it, I'll make a note of the measurements, because if you go to the likes of B&Q, they will cut wood to size. I think it's free as well. I don't think they charged me before, so you can get a sheet of MDF and you can get it cut to size. I did it. My regular viewers will know the struggle I have with the miters. And I think the penny finally dropped. You measure, I'm gonna hope that I can explain this in case someone else is mesmerized by the miters. Where I was going wrong, I think, was I'd cut, so for example, this is 18 inches or 45.5 centimeters, right? So this is 45.5 centimeters from here, this longer point, sorry, my camera not zooming, to this longer point. From here to here is the 45.5 centimeters. And I think what I was doing in the past was I would measure, because I would always come up short, I would cut it too short. I think I was measuring from the smaller point. So today I just said, I was gonna just do straight cut. And I said, no, we're gonna try the miters. We are not gonna be afraid of them. It's like zippers when it came to sewing, and I mastered them. So I did it, and your girl got the angle. Look at that. Oh, definitely clamp it to the miter box and take your time, son. And it fits on my base piece of wood. I think I'm out by like a millimeter, like I have a millimeter extra. But as my woodwork teacher says, better to have too much wood than too little, because you can always take away, you cannot stick it back. And ain't that the truth? Because I've learned that the hard way. So that's my epiphany. My miter epiphany is measuring not from this little side, it's the long side. So 45.5 centimeters, and then you cut it in the angle. And I've got this angle on this side. All four pieces has this angle and this angle, and they all stick in a square. So now I'm gonna get my wood glue, and I'm gonna, I think, put some nails in it as well. All of the security, I just don't want to lift it and the arse falls out of it. That is the fear. So I think if I use wood glue and nails, we should be good. But first, there's me some tea. The excitement of getting the miters ready. So I'm using some timber adhesive to firstly glue the pieces to the base, and I'm then going to use some nails on the bottom just to give it an extra bit of security, especially with the weight of the tiles. So now for the fun part. How adorable are these tiles? These are from the same company that I used originally a couple of years ago. They're from the Dolly Tub. I think they may only deliver to Ireland and the UK. I don't think they offer international shipping, but you might find something similar on Etsy. I'm placing out the tiles before I use some adhesive to stick them on. I'm using adhesive that I have in my stash. Use what you have. You can buy small pots of tile adhesive and grout. Whatever you use, just make sure that it's going to be strong enough to adhere ceramic to wood. So tile adhesive is perfect and great if it's a 2-in-1 grout and adhesive, or you can use some like builder's adhesive. I'm using some stuff that I had left over when I did the wall paneling in the room makeovers that I recently did. So use what you have, and also Gorilla Glue would work as well. Most of the glues will have a 24-hour drying time. Some things will be dry quicker, but give it a full 24 hours and then apply your grout. If it's your first time doing the grout, have fun. It's actually quite satisfying, a little bit therapeutic, but just get used to the texture and consistency of the grout. Now you'll see I'm using a grout float. You don't need this, you just need something that will smooth out the grout. So you can use like a plastic old credit card, or just something that you can use to smooth it out, and then a rag to wipe off any excess. Just use whatever tools you have in your stash and you can make it work. Now, I did stain the wood, but I kind of regret it. Or maybe I just used the wrong colour. Maybe if I did a darker stain, I kind of wanted the contrast with the tiles, but the lighter wood I think looks prettier, but it's okay. The other tiled tray that I have, you would have seen, is painted in a white trim, and I wanted to just do something different, and I wanted to show off the wood grain, and I wanted to show off them little miter corners because they'd be looking fresh. Also, once the grout was dry, 24 hours later, or roughly 24 hours later, I just polished up the tiles. So any little small bits of grout that was on the tile, I got most of it off as I was applying it. And then the next day, I am just polishing up these tiles and they're ready to go. You could also use a grout sealer as well, depending on the grout that you use. Some of them don't need it, but you can also use it as like an extra little bit of protection for your tray. Now, I know what you're thinking, girl, why are you playing with tiles? Normally I'll play with something before wanting to do a bigger job. Let me grab some that I bought. So remember a couple of weeks back I got my wisdom teeth taken out. So there was like a week kind of on the couch watching some stuff, catching up on some YouTube videos, you know the sus. And I was catching up on, so they need no introduction, the kings and queens of the DIY YouTube space, XL McKenna and Lone Fox. So I was catching up on their videos, had a little binge, and I ended up buying a tile cutter. So XL McKenna had tiled her backsplash in her kitchen. She's doing like amazing like renovation work. And Lone Fox, the videos I was watching, they're recent enough, he was tiling a floor. Adorable, lovely stone floor. And I said it in last year's video that when I got my countertop changed in the kitchen, and I changed the countertop nice and light, love it. Now there's nothing wrong, the tile backsplash is probably here a good 20 odd years because it was in the house when I moved in, and I'd say it was just put in. So it's just your budget square tile, nothing wrong with it. But I was like, I love the textured tiles that are kind of around at the moment. These samples are from B&Q. So you've got this, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but it's like a textured vibe, and then you've got little squares. You can see the texture on this one a bit better. So I was just thinking, you know that thing on Instagram, I was like, I don't know, I was just thinking about it. I did it. It's nice to do fun projects with tiles beforehand because it gets you used to like the consistency of grout, the adhesive, things like that. I think I need to just do it. It is a bit of a big space for your first time. Like I've got the length of the wall a bit there. I like to go around plugs and stuff. Maybe I just need to watch a few more YouTube videos. But I really want to rip off my backsplash and tile it myself. And I have a manual tile cutter, and maybe I need more practice because I couldn't get it to kind of work properly. Could have been the tile I was using as well. So I got this one because I seen it online. I was #influenced. Haven't opened it. It's still in the wrapper. I also got ear things as well, because that's the thing when you're cutting tile. It can be a bit scary because it sounds really noisy. Sometimes cutting wood can be like that on a blade. So I think I'm going to... I have some more of these in the thing. So I think I might practice cutting tiles with that. Because once I master cutting tiles, the world is my oyster. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just getting around those sections there. But if I can cut tile, I'm going to do it. Anyway, let me know if you make... I really think I'm going to get my niece and nephew to do this, to paint something on it. It's just a budget-friendly way of doing like tile art, because if you were to do sublimation, you would need a heat press. I think your Cricut heat press can work. I've used it to sublimate, but you have to have sublimation blanks, and it gets a bit more like advanced in the crafting. But I think this is a good budget-friendly way to do some painting on tiles and decorating. I've baked this one and it ain't moving. It ain't moving. So I think it might be nice to do as like a little Mother's Day present. You could use different tiles. You could maybe, well, these ones have barcodes on them, so you might have to cut the barcode off, but you could definitely do something with these with kids. Obviously just be careful with tiles and kids, but maybe something for the older ones. That's me for this week. Maybe next week I'll tile the kitchen. No, I won't. Not next week. Who knows? Does anybody else, please let me know if you watch YouTube videos and you're like, they make it look so easy, and you're like, I could totally do that. I would totally do that. That's how I'm feeling right now about tiling. But I know it's a bit, tiles are a big job. I mastered a miter corner this week. I couldn't master the tiles. I did a little bit of tiling projects. I tiled the step, remember? Anyway, you can see my brain is like, do it. Do it. I will catch you in next week's video. If you're new, check out my recent videos. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, join the family. Welcome to the community. For my OGs, my regulars, cheeky thumbs up, you know the drill. Smash the like button, leave a little comment, say hello, chat to each other in the comments, and I'll see you there, and I'll see you in next week's video.